My people, my people. See who's watching. All right, I think we got all that. See if I can tap through all this. We here, y'all. It's been 2 weeks. But we're back. Episode 7. Let's talk boxing. We got a lot of stuff that we got to cover. Going back these past couple weeks. So sit tight. We're gonna see if we can rock for an hour, maybe a little less than an hour, depending on everything. But we're gonna try to shoot for it. All right. So let's recap what happened last week. So we had a couple fights. We had Josh Warrington. Josh Warrington, he got his IBF belt back. 2-time IBF world champion. He stopped Kiko Martinez, which was a really good fight. Miguel Berchelt. I can't even talk today. Miguel Berchelt in his comeback fight, he ended up losing. He ended up losing by TKO. He lost to Jeremiah Nakata. I always have an issue saying his name, but Miguel Berchelt lost his fight, so we got to find out what's next for Berchelt. Tim Tszyu, the son of Costa Tszyu, he ended up winning. He beat Terrell Gausha in a very entertaining fight at 154. So that is potentially setting him up for a showdown with the winner of Castaño and Charlo, which will happen in a couple months. Give me a few seconds, guys. I'm going to see if I can get Amin in here, see if he's busy. Let's see. We're going to do... see if we can invite a couple people. Get this thing going. We're going to do... and we got Joe, what's the word? Tap in. We got some talking that we got to do, Joe. We got Spence Ugas in 2 weeks, man. I want to know how you feel. I want to know anything changed. You still got the same. Input. So we definitely got to talk about that. Anybody that wants to be a part of the discussion, this is a little round table. So send me the little invite. I'll make sure I get you in on the discussion. Oh, you can't join in? It's all good, man. It's all good. Hey, it's every Saturday, bro. So if you ain't in here on this Saturday or, next Saturday, we'll find a way to get you in, brother. It's all good. Yes, sir. Mania in 2 hours. Shout out to my boy Keith, Wrestling Talk Radio. It was a pleasure being on with you last night. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Proud of you. Savannah Marshall. Definitely got to give kudos to Savannah Marshall. She actually just got a one-punch knockout win over Femke Hermans. That sets her up for a potential super fight with Clarissa Shields. They're talking about late January, early July. So be on the lookout for that, man. Women's boxing, they've been doing their thing. I think we got my boy Ariel in the head. What's up, son? Hey, man, my people, I want y'all to welcome my dog Ariel to the show, man. Me and Ariel, we go back probably about 15 years strong. Good dude. Facts. Yeah, we grew up in the same neighborhood, and no matter where we went, man, we always kept in contact with each other, man. How you been, brother?
Man, I'm good, bro. Good, man. I'm over here just listening to some music and shit, chilling out. It's the weekend, so I'm enjoying the sunshine. Even though I'm in the house right now, preparing for the North Carolina Duke game tonight. I'm about to go see some of my peoples in a few, probably around 6 or so. We're going to be eating, barbecuing, watching the game, man, in the game. So, drinking a little bit.
I hear that.
You know how we do.
Who you got in the game?
Man, come on, bro. I'm not a Duke fan, bro. North Carolina all day, son. I got two words for Duke, and ain't nothing nice, man.
I hear you, man. I hear you. You know what? That's a rivalry, man. That rivalry it speaks for itself, man. It's one of the biggest rivalries in all of college sports. So it'll definitely be fun to watch, man. I feel like Duke owes North Carolina. You know what I mean? Because y'all know what y'all did to Coach K at his final home game. So they got to get one back on y'all. So we'll see what happens, man. It's gonna be a good game either way.
Yeah, that's a fact. And I love Coach K. Don't get it twisted. I mean, through the dream team era and all that stuff. Like, salute to him, man. He's the greatest college coach ever.
Yeah.
You know, and I honestly, back in the day, I would have never said something like that with Deep Smith in the mix and all that. Like, no, it's real. He is the greatest coach in my college. Period.
Yeah. I think we'd all agree with that. Even if you UNC fan or whoever you like, I mean, it's hard to argue that point, man. I mean, Coach K, he's done so much, not just for college basketball, but the whole sport altogether. So you definitely can make that argument. You won't get an argument from me, man. I completely agree with you. Coach K, man, he's that dude. All right. So hey, we touched on the college basketball. You know where you come to, man. You came to the boxing talk. So I know you keep up with it enough to to have a educated input, and input makes sense. So I want to ask you, in about 2 weeks, well, man, Joe just dropped a comment about the fight I'm getting ready to talk about. We got Errol Spence versus Yordenis Ugas. That's coming up in 2 weeks. It'll be here before you know it, man. So I want to ask you, all right, we know Errol had the long layoff. He had the car accident. Errol had a lot of stuff that's going on. In the meantime, Ugas beat Manny Pacquiao. And I know it's not the same Manny Pacquiao. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But Ugas, he put on a performance that has some people saying, you know what, he's pretty good. People that may not have seen Ugas as much before, they see that Pacquiao performance and they're like, okay, this dude ain't no bum. He's a legitimate threat to anybody in the weight class. So I'm going to ask you, how do you think that fight goes down between Errol Spence and Yordenis Ugas in 2 weeks?
All right, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to try not to be biased because you know how I feel about Errol Spence. I'm a huge fan of him. Huge fan. We can't ignore the fact. I'm just going to add this before I get my bias. We can't ignore the fact that I've been back from the accident, but yet fought Daniel Garcia. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like he came back and did a wrestling fight. He went and fought somebody with the elites. Mm-hmm. So it's not, so let's just put that to bed with this whole car accident. I get it. He took some time off, whatever the case is, and he did not look the greatest because you're not supposed to. When you took how many years? It was like a good 2 years.
He had some time off, and usually at first fight back, you're not going to look like your normal self anyways.
But yeah, he won.
He did.
Yeah, he won. So, and we can't debate that. He won the fight. And with this gentleman here, matter of fact, he was a replacement fight for Manny Pacquiao.
Yes, it was originally supposed to be Errol Spence. Yep, it was supposed to be Errol Spence.
Correct. So he looked good. I was hoping that he didn't get robbed, which he didn't. So that's a good thing because I thought it was like, because and all this stuff, whatever the case is. But he got his fair share and he won. He looked really good. But it is Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao should have retired quite a bit ago. I get it that he won some fights. He looked real good in that Foreman fight, which was cool. But it's Pacquiao. Rest in peace to the legend. That's all I can say. He's a legend. Salute to him. He won quite a bit of title matches and all that. But Errol Spence is a different fighter. He's not an old fighter. This gentleman right here is really good. But I think, honestly, it's just going to be a great fight. I think Errol Spence is going to edge it out because he has to win to go ahead and get Terrence Crawford. That's what I'm looking forward to. Everybody's looking forward to that. And to be honest with you, like, I care about boxing. I feel like Errol Spence is going to edge it out because of the fact that everybody's been asking for this for a very long time. You know, and it's time for it to happen. It reminds me back when Mayweather was supposed to become Manny Pacquiao 5 years ago. Well, not 5 years ago for me. So we know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about it took him 5 years to finally fight Manny Pacquiao after all that hype. This is the time. Same with Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. That's the biggest fight out there. Period. So let's get it done. So Errol Spence is going to beat him. He's going to finally get Terence, man. Get Terence in here. That's all I want to see. I don't give a fuck about this fight, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. Ugas is one of those opponents, man, that if you don't come 100%, you're going to lose. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully Errol has all his I's crossed, his I's dotted, his T's crossed. Because Ugas is no joke, man. His jab is probably the best in the division. And, with that retina issue that he had, you would think that part of Ugas's game plan is to target and just keep throwing a jab and see what happens, in that scenario.
Right.
Now with Spence, he did come back and fight Danny Garcia. You got to give somebody credit, man, because too many times, like a fighter will have a layoff and then their first fight back, you don't really know who they fight against. And I get it. They feel like they want to get back right before they jump in the deep waters again. But Errol came back, and like you said, he jumped right in the deep water against Danny Garcia. Which is he's not the top guy of the division, but he's a name that if you say in the division, you're like, okay, I can respect that because he's been in the ring with other good fighters in the division. With this fight here, Ugas's trainer said that this Errol Spence that's fighting isn't the same one that fought years ago because they feel like the accident may have taken something from him. What it is, we don't know yet. And sometimes when you hear Errol speak, it just, I don't know what it is, man. It just seems like something's wrong. He doesn't seem the same way. Now, what exactly the problem is, I haven't been able to put my finger on it yet. I hope he's okay. Maybe it's just me being crazy. I don't know. It won't be the first time I've been wrong. But he has to come ready, man. He can't make any kind of mistakes. He can't be slow or anything like that. He's got to be able to use his jab, get in and out. Don't sit there and wait for the receipt. I guess you can say hit and get, hit and move. But it's tough, man. Like if you would have asked me a couple weeks ago, I would say Errol Spence without hesitation. But as it starts to go on, and I see Ugas training, I've seen some of Ugas fight, rewatch some of them. He's going to be a problem for Errol Spence. He's going to be a big problem for Errol Spence. So even if Errol wins, there are going to be some people talking to say, you know what, he didn't look that good against Ugas. That might give people more ammo to pick Crawford in their fight. You know what I mean? Because of the holes that Ugas may exploit when they fight. Because Ugas is going to come ready to fight. I'm telling you that right now. He's coming ready to fight. That's what makes this fight so good. And hopefully he wins, man. Like you said, I want him to win because at the end of the day, Errol Spence and Terence Crawford is the fight that fans have been trying to get for who knows how long. And it seems like if he wins this fight, that's the next fight's going to happen. Errol said he's got 2 fights left at 147, and he wants to move up to 154. So the ideal situation for him is to beat Ugas and then fight Terence Crawford after that. Because the thing is, if he beats Ugas, there are going to be too many people now asking about Terence Crawford. He's going to have a mic in his face everywhere saying, when are you going to fight Terence? When are you going to fight Terence Crawford? Terence Crawford is the only fight you need to have. How can you move up to 154 when you haven't even beat the other top guy at 147? People are going to be saying so many different things if he beats Ugas. So I hope for the fans that happens. You know what I mean? Hopefully it's not one of those things that they let money get in the way and say, you get this and you get less than what you should. It's not about that. They're going to make money. With this, you can put this fight on pay-per-view and charge $100 and people will buy. You know what I'm saying? You can jack up the price on tickets and the place, no matter where they fight, will sell out. Why? Because you have the best fighting the best and they promise. What you just got done saying. And that's what fans want to see. We want to see these cats fight each other when they're at the top of their game. You know what I mean? Now, Mayweather Pacquiao, it happened a little too late, but one thing I will give Mayweather credit for, when he was in that Pretty Boy Floyd era, he was calling out everybody from the Costazoos to the Juan Lascanos to the Shane Mosleys to the Oscar De La Hoyas to everybody. You know what I mean? When he was doing his thing, and then obviously as he got older, the injuries, and some people just really didn't want to fight. Is what it's going to boil down to. But Ugas and Spence, man, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good fight. And it's one of those things that if you're not as familiar with Ugas, you will be after this fight, man. He's going to come because this is the fight that he's been calling for. You got to realize that too. You know what I'm saying? Like Errol Spence, he's been doing this thing. And meanwhile, Ugas has been in the cut sizing you up the whole time. And that's the dude you got to worry about. You on top, and then you got somebody sit back watching your every move, watching everything you do. They know when you sleep. They know when you breathe. They know when you eat. They know when you train. They know everything that you're doing. Those are the ones you got to worry about.
And honestly, I know he's a dangerous fighter. I mean, I'm not, like I said, it's going to be a great fight. Yeah. I'm really, really looking forward to that fight. I'm excited for it. And I guess I'm more hopeful than anything because, like, where Errol Spence, it's just he deserves it. You feel me? Like, everything that he went through, he was dominating the sport before the accident. Then he has that accident, and he has a setback. Yeah. He took years to come back. It's a great accident, right? So then finally, still, like, he never slowed down. Like, he never changed his activity, like his stance, his style. He still end up doing what he had to do, and he still got the next. And that's what I'm looking forward to. And to kind of segue into Floyd Mayweather, I heard some news, man. Let me ask you, you're the professional. I heard, man, Tank is leaving Floyd.
Possibility. It's a possibility. He's got one fight left on the contract. So Floyd pretty much came out and said, no matter what happens, Tank is my guy. You know what I'm saying? I love Tank. I think we've done a good job up until this point with him, which there's some truth, and I disagree on some fronts. But Tank is one of the biggest stars in boxing. There's no debate about that with his knockout ability and everything. You have to give Floyd some kind of credit there. But yeah, the reality is, man, his contract is up after his fight with Rolly that he has coming up. And then it's just a matter of where he wants to go after that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are saying, be a free agent. Be a free agent, so that way, whoever you fight, no matter what network they're on, you'll be able to do that. So if there's somebody on DAZN you want to fight, you negotiate it, and then you can fight on DAZN, and then you can come back. And then if there's somebody on Top Rank on ESPN that you want to fight, you can fight them too. If there's somebody at PBC that you can fight them too. So you still got all your options.
And you got the bigger bag. You could go after the bigger bag. So, like, you have that option to do it. So, damn, that's what's up. Because I kept hearing rumors and stuff like that. They had some miscommunication or some issues amongst each other with me and stuff like that. So I didn't know how true that was. Or somebody just trying to throw wood on a fire, trying to create some smoke, but whatever happens, I hope the best that Tank fights where he needs to fight. I know. What's the next fight for him? I ain't hear what he was shooting.
Well, Tank, his next fight is with Rolando Rolly Romero. So it's the guy that he was supposed to fight, and then some stuff happened with Rolly, and then the dude Cruz stepped in last minute, and Tank ended up fighting Cruz, which was a tougher fight than people thought. Cruz is a good fighter. So now that fight happened. Now Rolly's situation is handled. So now they're trying to get back trying to do the fight that was originally supposed to happen before the whole Rolly thing happened. Rolly's talking a lot. He's got that villain mindset. He's saying that he's gonna knock Tank Davis out. If he does, he's a star. He's a media star. But you know what I mean? I can't fault this man for being confident in himself. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes when somebody is confident, people look the other way and people are like, man, this dude talking crazy. Same thing they did with Ali. Same thing they did with Mayweather. People are like, man, what is this dude talking about? Even Conor McGregor, I got to give him some credit too. Like, people come out and they say these things and then they end up doing it, and then the whole world is like, yo, what the fuck did we just watch? You know what I'm saying? So anything can happen. Do I see him knocking Tank out in the first round? No. But you know, it would be interesting to see like what happens if he wobbles Tank a little bit. You know what I'm saying? If he's able to do some damage. So we'll see what happens. But with Tank's situation, if he wins, he needs to start worrying about, they need to try to get him some fights, no matter what he decides to do, no matter what network he's on. It needs to start being some names now. I don't want to see no more, with all due respect to anybody that steps in the ring. I don't call nobody bums, none of that. If you fight at professional level, you're no bum. All right, it's just levels to the game. All right, either elite level, here. It's all about it. However, if he does win, I need to start seeing names like the winner between Kambosos and Devin Haney. I need to see somebody like that. I need to see Shakur Stevenson isn't too far away. Him and Oscar Valdez, they're going to be fighting. I need to start seeing names like that. If we're talking about one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, that means when you go against other elite talent, your talent shines above them. Now, I'm sure Tank has that in him. He's got that ability in him. The problem is the opposition that he's been up against hasn't been able to bring that elite level talent out of him. He fought Leo Santa Cruz, but Santa Cruz went up in weight. He didn't fight a true guy in the weight class or somebody that's even coming down to me. You know, so I want to see what happens if you get in there. Let's just say Devin Haney beats Kambosos. What do you do against Devin Haney?
I don't see that, and not against Devin Haney. I like him a lot. I think Barbosa, he surprised me in that last fight. Like he really surprised me in the last fight. I think he's fast, man. He's really fast. Devin Haney, he shows himself too much. He keeps himself open sometimes, and I think he's gonna fuck around and get put. And I'm saying it first. Like, I think he might get put.
That was you know what, we had a little segue because that's the next fight I wanted to bring up, man. George Kambosos Jr. versus Devin Haney. It's official, like a ref with a doggone whistle, man. It's supposed to be. I had the date. I don't have it in front of me, but it's going down. They announced the fight. I want to say it's like April. Hold on. Let me get this. Let me get this fight date. But yeah, they signed it. It is for June 4th. All right, so June 4th in Australia is going to be Devin Haney versus George Kambosos. They're going to unify the titles. You're going to find out who is the guy in the division. So you said that you got Kambosos knocking out Devin Haney. That's tough. That's tough, but it's possible. It's possible because people didn't know George Kambosos was that good until he got in the ring with Teofimo Lopez. You know what I'm saying?
And not to the thing about it is I was picking Lopez to win that fight because I was looking at it, I was like, man, Lopez is just way too good. I don't know, dude. Lopez is talking a lot of shit. I think his dad, again, his dad puts him in a mix of all that shit too much. So I was like, all right, Lopez got this shit. I'm thinking 5th or 6th round, homeboy Lopez, he might do something else. But when I started seeing him, he was demolishing him. Like it wasn't close. Like Lopez looked confused, and I thought he would figure it out. Like, what's going on here? So, yeah, I lost some money. So I was pissed, and I'm like, man, from here on out, I'm not going to go because Lopez is from New York and he's Latino. I'm not just gonna do that.
Yeah.
I was like, and from now on, I'm not gonna bet on fights that I don't know who the other fighter is. Like I don't know who he is. Yeah,
true.
Now that I watched him, I'm really, really impressed with this. And he's gonna be at his hometown. Come on, bro. That's a different type of Devin Haney, I loved him ever since he came up from amateurs to professional. I've been watching him for a long time. I haven't been recently watching his fights, but I think second to last fight I watched him, and it was supposed to be a blowout for him. And he didn't do any damage. He went the distance. Forget my man's name. But he went the distance when he was supposed to knock him out by at least the fifth round. That's what I was like. Even my brother-in-law was like, bro, I don't trust Devin Haney at all.
Yeah.
Like, he just leaves himself too open. Like, he really does. He's super quick. He's nice. But he's not the greatest when it comes down to protecting himself. You know, he's not like a Shakur Stevenson.
Right.
You know,
Right.
Shakur is my guy. That's my
He's
dude.
a problem.
Yes, but I don't think he's ready to fight Tank yet because he needs to build some type of minutes. He needs to build his body up just a little bit more before he can fight Tank. But if he does, when he does, I think Tank is going to get his first loss. I'm not going off in another fight, but
No,
that's just my opinion.
yeah, it's a round table, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of this stuff is connected, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like this fighter is connected possibly to the winner of this fight. So it's, you know, you can talk about different fights, you know, when you're focusing on one, because one fight, just like we were talking about Spencer Ugas a little bit ago, that fight could potentially lead into Spence Crawford. So now you're talking about Spence Crawford. So a lot of this stuff is tied in, man. But I was looking up while you were talking. It's when he fought Jojo Diaz. He fought Jojo Diaz in December, and that was a unanimous decision. And before that, he fought Linares, which he got rocked at the end of one of them rounds. I forgot which one it was. I think it was a looping right hand when he was trying to throw, and he wasn't defensively sound. He didn't have that glove up, so he got hit with like a looping right hand, and his legs was a little. You know what I'm saying? It was a little shaky, headed back to the corner. So there have been some times where Devin Haney has been touched. So you start to wonder, it's like, okay, if he goes against somebody that's a power puncher, what's going to happen
Like
if they hit him with that looping right hand? If he I'm pretty sure he learned from his mistakes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure that he tries to do a better job of keeping his hands up.
Sure.
But there are going to be times where you may get caught slipping. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about 12 rounds. You can make a mistake 1 or 2 times in them 12 rounds. And with them heavy hitters, that's all it takes is for them to hit you one time and change the whole fight. So
and Barbosa, he's a dog, bro.
Yeah.
He's a dog.
Oh, you talking about
like he goes
Kambosos?
Yes.
Yeah.
Kambosos, my
you good.
He's a dog.
Yeah.
He's a dog. Like I said, when I seen him fight, I was at my boy's house. As a matter of fact, the same boy's house somebody go there today to watch that UNC fight. I mean, UNC basketball game. We were at his house, bro. I was super impressed by him. Super impressed. He kept coming at him. He knew he had this. Like, I loved his fighting. Like, he just got heart. You know, he really got heart. And that's why I feel like Devin just don't have a chance. I really don't think he has a chance. I mean, it's going to be a good fight, but I think he's going to get knocked out. I put it by like, I want to say about a 6-1.
I give Devin a chance, you know, because he's a good fighter. You know what I mean? He's undefeated. He's done his thing, but I think he's running into a monster that we don't know if he's ready for yet. Because now it's like you got to be a dog now. Now you got to go to somebody's crib in Australia. They're gonna have tens of thousands of people there, and now you got to go in and beat the champ's ass. You can't go out there and try to box your way to a decision. When you're talking about going to somebody's home turf, you got to put a different face on that. You got to put that, you know, cutthroat mentality. You got to come in and just completely destroy the champion and win. Ideally, get a knockout if you can. But I don't
think he can pouch.
That's the thing. I don't know. Like Haney, he has some knockouts, man, but I don't know if he has that dog mindset. You know what I'm saying? I know he's a good boxer. I know all that stuff, but when it comes to going into somebody's crib and taking what they have, I don't know if he's got that in him. We're gonna find out. He's saying that, you know what I mean? He's saying that's what he wants, and they signed up twice. There's actually gonna be 2 fights. They signed like a 2-fight deal with Kambosos. So I guess it's a situation that if Haney wins, they'll run it back, with Kambosos. So he sees something in Kambosos that he's confident about too, because he's been calling for this fight for a long time. So it'd be interesting to see what happens, man. It's one that I'm kind of on the fence about. I say Haney one day, and then I say Kambosos, another day. But it's another one of them fights, man. It's going to be good for the fans. This whole month of April is going to be filled with a bunch of real good fights, man. So I'm excited. I'm excited for it. Another one. Well, matter of fact, since you were talking about Puerto Rican fighters, man, let me throw a little question at you. Did you watch the 2 Puerto Rican fighters on ESPN a couple weeks ago? It was Edgar Berlanga that was on the main event, and then it was Xander Zayas that was on the co-main event, and Josue Vargas was on the card. There were a couple other Puerto Rican fighters that were on the card. Did you get a chance to check that card? I think it was like 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna ask you about each one of those 2 kids that were running the headline the show. I'm gonna start off with the younger of the 2, Xander Zayas, who I want to say is like 19. What do you think about this kid? How do you think his ceiling is?
Oh, it's tough. I mean, I know people are hopeful that he's going to be something amazing.
Mm-hmm.
When I watched him, he has great speed, great footwork. Oh my God, his footwork is retarded. Really, really good. But I just don't know. I'm hopeful that he's going to be. He's 19. He's young. He has a lot of potential of being something amazing. As long as he gets with the right people. I know his dad is the trainer, and a lot of times, especially in boxing, it's just majority of the trainers are all their dads. It just seems like. And his dad is like, he went to, I know the story that he went to prison, came out. It's a great story. It's a fantastic story. So yeah, I feel like he's too young for me to tell you, his ceiling. As long as he gets with the right people, I think he's going to be amazing. Maybe like a Phoenix Trinidad type of.
That's my dog, man. That's tough. If you're gonna throw Tito in there, man, you gotta make sure you can't just throw anybody's name in there. You talk about Tito, Miguel Cotto, or Camacho. You talking about any of them, you gotta come correct when you're talking about Puerto Rican fighters if they gonna represent on that level.
I'm just saying he could be right there in that line of guys if he just does it right. Like I said, he's very fast. He got great footwork. And the thing about it is he has no emotion. You can't really tell if he's hurt or not. And I enjoyed Tito was like that. Felix Trinidad was like that. When he got hit, you can't really tell it because he kept his same face. I mean, obviously, when he started wobbling a little bit, especially when he got with them. But he was a great fighter, man. I think he's going to be a really good one as long as he keeps him a straight path, keeps him level-headed. Due to the fact that God seems like he's a very level-headed man. He doesn't overhype his son. He doesn't do too much. He doesn't put the pressure on him. He lets him do him. And I see the potential of something amazing for him. Elgin. Oh my God, he's a knockout artist.
No, you talking about Edgar Berlanga?
I love him. Yes. I think he's a knockout. He's a knockout artist. To be honest, I fell asleep on him though. I was like, bro, like, I was trying to stay up, bro, but I was really in that fight. I was like, fuck, man.
Bro,
And then I got up like at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, oh shit.
that's the only thing about some of the fights, like living in the US, man. Some of the fights, they don't start, like the main events, they don't start till like 11. You know what I'm saying? Like
I
11,
know.
12 o'clock. And then by the time they come on, you got to wake yourself up and get something to drink and all that. But Xander Zayas, man, I love that kid, man. He's 19. And some of the stuff that he was doing in the ring aren't stuff that you're supposed to know how to do when you're 19. Like when you're 19, you trying to get stuff right. But it seems like a lot of stuff that it takes people to get right, he's already got right. Like his footwork, his feints, his speed. All that stuff, and he knows when to be aggressive and when to not be aggressive, and that's huge right there, man. Because there were some times that inexperienced fighters may be aggressive in certain situations, like when he had him on the ropes. It was a prime example. It was a couple times he had him on the ropes instead of just throwing crazy punches like Josh Warrington did, last week against Kiko Martinez. He was picking his shots, picking when to be aggressive and when to just see how somebody's going to react. Just throw the bait out and see how they're going to react. And then once you get an idea how they're going to react, then you can throw something with some power behind it. He was doing that, and I'm super impressed by him. I think he's a better prospect really than Berlanga, because Berlanga main event, bro, I know you fell asleep. You didn't miss anything. Because that was his time. He was in the main event in New York. You had majority of Puerto Rican crowd. You had Fat Joe there. You had a dude that's 37 years old that Triple G fought not too long ago, but he was tailor-made for you to be impressive. Like Steve Rose, he's solid, but he's no A-plus fighter. He's somebody that you're supposed to go in and be impressive and impress the crowd and take the next step. But Steve Rose was touching him up, man. Steve Rose was touching him up, putting combinations together, moving, and it's to a point where now you got a lot of people on social media after the fight saying that Steve Rose was robbed of the fight. Saying they said that, Berlanga got touched up that much that they didn't even think he won the fight. And even the fight before that, it was a pay-per-view fight he got dropped. So like with Berlanga, I'm kind of nervous because like they want to bring him along, but I feel like if they bring him along but put him in there with the wrong sleeper opponent, that could hurt him because he makes some defensive mistakes. So if you have somebody that may not be high up on the ranking but knows how to capitalize on those mistakes, it could be tough for him. So I think Berlanga got some work to do. He was knocking everybody out in the first round. It was fun to see. But you're not going to be able to knock everybody out in the first round. There'll be some times where you're going to have to go to distance. There's some times you might have to win ugly. There's going to be all kinds of different fights that you run into, but you just got to know how to win at the end of the day. You got to know how to win. Berlanga, he did win, but I'm not impressed with him. I'm not even going to sit here and lie, bro. The last two fights, I'm not impressed with Berlanga. I hope, he gets in the gym and tightens some things up and gets defensively sound and work on certain things. But if we talking about, like you said, Tito, one of the greatest Puerto Rican fighters of all time, Miguel Cotto, those guys, and they performed consistently at a high level. So, in order for him to even be mentioned in the same book as those guys, he's got some work to do. I'm not saying that he can't get there. He absolutely can get there. He's got some intangibles, but it's some stuff that he's going to have to clean up if you're going to start getting to the premier talent at 160 and talk about you possibly fighting some big names at 160. That's all I'm saying with Berlanga.
I agree. I think, like I said, we got over oppressed from the fact that he was knocking out fighters in the first round, second round. And me personally, he's Puerto Rican from the Bronx. So salute, like, all back, like, I'm always going to rep for the people. So, I don't know. I think, obviously, Like you said, you can't just come up there and knock out people because that's not working. Even Mike Tyson had great footwork. He had great, great tactics, great style. But you couldn't hit him
Mhm.
because of that head movement. The way he moves side to side. You have to have that. You can't just stand there and just start throwing punches and end up like fucking George Foreman versus Ali.
Yeah.
Look, George Foreman was supposed to be the knockout artist, knockout king, but at the end of the day, he couldn't keep up with Muhammad Ali.
Somebody that can move.
Because of the speed,
Yep.
the style.
Yep.
So
That's what makes Tyson Fury so good, even at his weight, man, because, the heavyweights, obviously their punches aren't as fast as some of the lighter weight, but he's able to move and get out the way. That's what was a problem for Deontay Wilder, being able to get out of the way of that right hand. Because if Wilder lands that right hand, he already knocked Fury down, twice in the last fight. He knocked him down twice in the first fight. So he knocked him down 4 times altogether in 3 fights. So that shows you how dangerous that right hand is. But Tyson just does such a good job of just rolling with punches, keeping his hands up, that he was only able to land the right hand a few times. And with Deontay Wilder, if you can get past that right hand, then you can kind of make him normal. You can bring him down a little bit, outbox. But the last fight I want to get into, man, before we head out of here, we touched on it briefly, man. Oscar Valdez at the end of the month, April 30th, Oscar Valdez, Shakur Stevenson, man. It's another one of those fights. 2 fighters fighting at the right time. They both in their prime. They both want to fight. Shakur's been calling them out for a while. Valdez said, "Hey, don't get it twisted. I've wanted you too, but the time just ain't been right. The time is right. It's right. It's not. This is the time now." So I'm gonna let you give your input first, man. I know you say you like Shakur. Is that who you rolling with, man? Is it Shakur or is Oscar Valdez? Is he gonna be a little bit too much for the young boy?
no, I think it's Shakur's time. He's just different. He reminds me of Floyd a lot.
A lot of people say that.
He reminds me of Floyd a lot. His speed, even down to the rolling of the shoulder. Like, oh my God. I enjoy this kid a lot. Like, I'm a fan of him right next to Earl Spence. They're both like right there to me. Like I try to catch as many fights as I can with these gentlemen. Like not when it comes down to boxing, sometimes people gotta remind me, look, man, there's a fight coming. Oh, word? I'm on it. I don't keep up like that until somebody tells me, bro, it's a big fight coming up. And I'm blessed to have some friends as you to tell me, no, this is coming up. I'm always tuned into your Instagram, finding out what's going on. That's the only way I could keep up. You know what I'm saying? But Stevenson, I definitely got Stevenson winning. I think it is going to go to distance, though. And he's going to win. Ooh. I want to say by split decision. It's going to be a real good fight.
I can give you that. That's showing respect to Valdez's skills too, because like even though like we all know how special Shakur is, I don't want people to forget how good Oscar Valdez is too. You know what I'm saying? And I think you understand that, and people that watch boxing, they understand how good Oscar Valdez is too, and that's what makes this fight so special. Is if anybody that don't think Oscar Valdez is special, go back and look at his fight with Miguel Berchelt that happened last year, where it was pretty much knockout of the year. So he's special. So so you got 2 special kids fighting each other. But if I'm on a platform and I got to pick somebody, I'm picking Shakur, because like when you look at fights like this, they all do so many things so well. So now you got to find out, it's like, all right, what's something that one does better than the other that I can maybe go off that? Because they all, you know what I'm saying? So the one thing I look at is defense. Shakur does an amazing job of not getting hit, is what it boils down to.
And that's huge. And that's huge. So I think if he is still able to do that, I don't really see anybody beating him at that weight class, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? And if he's able to win that, I think that's 130, then he would the best thing would have to be for him to go up. He'd have to go up and win. And then that's when we start talking about that melting pot of names we just got finished. What's going on, Vega Diamond? But that goes back to the melting pot of names we were talking about with the Tank Davises. The Teofimo Lopez is still, around there. I think he said he wants to go to 140. You got Ryan Garcia lurking in there somewhere. He's got to fight. He's got some proving he's got to do because he's been gone for a while, with his mental health, and I respect that. He's come back, but he's been capping a lot. He's been running his mouth a lot. He's been saying, I want to fight this dude, I want to fight this dude, I want to fight this dude. Come back and do your job first. You win your comeback fight first, and then we can start talking about other names. Like I don't want to hear you talking about all these other guys first, and you got this dude that you get ready to fight next week just trying to take your head off. We do want to see you in the ring with the top level guys, but you got to do your job first. But he's in the equation too, and then like I said, Devin Haney, they're all in that equation. Tank Davis, all of them. So it would be ideal that Shakur was able to clear out that division, throw him in there with the Tank Davises and the Devin Haneys and all that. If we're able to make that happen, because I mean, once you become undisputed champion at a weight class, there's really nothing else for you to do. You can defend if you decide to stay there. You can defend your titles as often as you want. But if you're looking for another challenge, you got to go to a different weight class and then see if you can do the same thing at that weight class that you did in the previous weight class, win all belts. And I think if he were to move up and get with that melting pot, Vasily Lomachenko is another one that we haven't even put him in. He's in that equation that could be in there. Shakur Stevenson side. You know what I mean? Maybe it could change away. So I would love to see if he's successful and does beat Oscar Valdez. I do want to see him move up because I like seeing these young dudes test themselves. Like that's what it's all about right there. Is testing yourself. You say you're the best, show everybody. Show everybody. Fight the other top guy, then we can find out who's truly the best. Like nobody's really going to give you a hard time if you fight the best and you lose. You know what I mean? Like if you fight another elite fighter and you lose, okay, people might say one or two things, but 1 or 2 wins, you right back to the title hunt. You know what I mean? That's different than you being a top level fighter, but you fight B-level fighter after B-level fighter, C-level fighter, B-level fighter. People are like, yo, you got 30-something wins and 20-something knockouts, but who have you fought?
No, that's a fact, and that's a fact. And yo, shout out to Vega Diamond. That's my guy too. For example, another thing too, and I was just thinking about. Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you. What's up with you? How you feel about Ryan Garcia?
Ryan Garcia, talented, hand speed is crazy. You probably got the best hand speed out of all them guys, to be honest with you. But I want to see less talk and more action from him.
Thank you.
That's
okay.
Because I'm all about action. So now it's at a point where you got to show me something. I know the talent is there. We've seen it. It's there, but there's only so much that this gonna do in a combat sport. People are only gonna take you but so serious when you're doing a lot of talking in a combat sport. People want to see action. People want to see you fight, and they want to see what happens if you take your talents and then you fight another top level guy. He hasn't done that yet. So, I like Garcia though, man. He's got a potential, but with him, I gotta see more fighting and less talking with Garcia, man. So we'll see what happens. He's got to fight on the zone on the 9th. I think I may have lost you. But he's got to fight on the 9th, man, against Tago. So this will be the start of his little comeback, comeback path. So we'll see what happens. I lost Ariel. Lost Jess, but hey, definitely appreciate him coming through and stopping in. He may tap back in, he may not, but kind of going off what he said about Ryan Garcia, the talent's there. Respect what he's done, but I like seeing action, man. You got to get out there, you got to put the body of work out there, and then you got to make people want to watch. So
Hopefully he does the job against Tago on the 9th. Then after that, we'll see what's next. But hey, I appreciate y'all rocking with me, man. Every Saturday, like y'all do. Sorry I wasn't here for 2 Saturdays straight, but we here this Saturday. Thank y'all for chopping it up with me. We'll be back next week. So anytime that you see us going live on Saturday, send that request. Chime in on the conversation. Let's have fun. Let's talk some boxing. I'll see y'all next week. Y'all be safe. If y'all wrestling fans, enjoy WrestleMania tonight. My basketball fans, make sure y'all enjoy the games tonight. Much love. I appreciate you all.